going to be working on lesson number 12 in the Breeze Easy Drum Method book. On this page, we're still working with 16th notes, which we learned in the last lesson. But this time, instead of having 4 16th notes connected together, we sometimes have 2, and then they're connected to an 8th note. There's 2 ways to look at this. Sometimes you have an 8th note and then 2 16th notes, and it's read as so. It's read 1 and a. If you have 2 16th notes and then a single 8th note, it's read 1E and. In this lesson, we're going to learn about 8th connected to 16th notes. You have 1 8th note, and then it's connected to 2 16th notes. I like to call these back-ended combinations where the 16th notes come second. Later on in the next lesson, when we learn lesson 13, you're going to learn about front end, where the 16th notes happen, and then you have the single 8th note. In this lesson, on this entire page, we have all back-ended combinations where you have 1 8th note connected to 2 16th notes. If you were to play 4 16th notes, you have 1 E and a. To make this an 8th note, we're going to eliminate the third, we're going to eliminate the E. So you're left with 1 and a. And that's how we get to read that measure. So 4 16th notes, 1 E and a. We're going to eliminate this E to make that an 8th note. And we have 1 and a. And that's how we get that rhythm. So these rhythms are counted 1 and a. And I like to refer to them, like I said, as back-ended combinations. Let's take a look at lesson number 1. In the time signature, we're counting to 2. It says 2 4. So the first 2 measures we know how to play. They're 8th notes and a quarter note. We have 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Now, this next measure, you have them on the back end. So it's read 1 and a, and then you have your second beat on 2. The next measure is the same, so it's going to be 1 and a, 2. The next half of the song is the same as the beginning, so we're going to read 1 and 2, 1 and 2. We have back end 1 and a, 1 and a, 2. Do it again, 1 and a, 2. Let's read through that whole entire line again. 1, 2, line number 1. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. So just remember, you want to memorize that the back end. It's 1 and a whenever you see the 8th note connected to 2 16th notes. Let's try this on the snare drum. There is a repeat sign at the end, so after you play through the song once, we're going to go back and play it again. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. Now we're going to go back and repeat it. Here we go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. Very good. Take a look at line number 2. Again, we're working with the back end of the 8th 16th note combination. So you have 2 in a row. It's going to sound like this. 1 and a, and then your second beat, 2 and a. So let's put that together. This is this is exercise 2, measure 1. We have 1 and a, 2 and a. The next measure are straight 8th notes. 1 and 2 and. The next measure is the same as the first. We have 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2. 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2 and. 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2. Let's go through that song one more time. Right now, remember, we're only working with back ends. So the 16th notes come after the 8th note. So 1 and a. Here we go. 1, to number 2. Let's go through it again. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Let's try playing that on the snare drum. Here we go. There is a repeat sign, so we're going to play through the song twice as usual. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Repeat. Go back to the beginning. Ready? Play. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. We're now on song number 3. Again, we're still in 2/4, so every measure is counted to 2. If you look at it, it looks exactly like exercise number 2. But this time, instead of playing that first beat, there's a rest on the first beat instead. But other than that, it's exactly the same thing. So instead of playing 1 and a, you're going to say rest instead of the 1. So it'll be rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. So it's the same exact exercise we just played in exercise number 2, but we're saying rest on the 1 instead of playing on 1. Let's try that again. Number 3. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. There is a repeat on this song, so let's go back from the beginning and let's play it on the snare drum 2 times through. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Repeat back to the beginning. Ready, play. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and rest and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Very good. Take a look at exercise number 4. This time we have a back ender. We have 1 and a, but then we have 4 straight 16th notes. Remember, we're counting our 16th notes. 1 E and a. In this song, those happen on beat 2. So we're going to start with a 2 instead of a 1. We're going to say 2 E and a. So if you look at the first measure, the first beat is 1 and a. Then we're up to 2, so it's 16th notes. We're going to go 2 E and a. The next measure are straight 8th notes. 1 and 2 and. Then we repeat it again. So we have 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2. Next measure. 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2. Let's read through that song one more time. From the beginning, we have 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2. 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2. Let's play it on the snare drum twice. There is a repeat sign. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2. 1 and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and Repeat. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Very good. We're on lesson number 5. Before we start lesson number 5, I want to revisit the flam, which we learned a few lessons ago. And what a flam is when you drop the sticks at the same time, but you're dropping them from different heights. So you get two separated sounds. So instead, but they're very, very close together. So when you drop your sticks down, it will sound like this. I don't want two separate sounds. They've got to be super close together, and it's like a but-up kind of feel. So you want to keep whatever stick is higher, once it drops, you want to keep it down closest to the drum. Now, let's go back to lesson number 5. In this song, you see that we have flams. So every time you see that little grace note, that little note with a line through it, that is a flam. And it just means that you're going to drop your sticks from different heights for that one beat. So I'm going to play it instead of reading the rhythm first. So we have number 5. We have flam, rest on 2. Flam on 1, rest on 2. Flam 1, flam, flam. And then you have the 8th note, so it's just 2 and. The next measure, we have flam, rest, flam, rest, flam, 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 rest. Remember, when you have flams in a row, whatever flam was high, whatever stick was higher, you're going to keep it down towards the drum so you can play another flam without having to reset your hands. It's already down there, so you keep it low while the other stick comes up high. So let's do number 5 again. We're not reading through the rhythms with the sticks. We're just going to play right on the drum here. We have flam, and then you have a rest. Flam, rest. Flam, 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 and then you're going to play 2 and. Now we start again. Flam, rest. Flam, rest. Flam, 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 rest. And those are 1 count flams. They're quarter note flams, so they're just 1 beat each. Let's try it again, number 5. There is a repeat sign, so we're going to play through this twice. Here we go. Flam, rest. Flam, rest. Flam, flam, flam. 2 and. Flam, rest. Flam, rest. Flam, 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 rest. Now let's repeat. Flam, rest. Flam, rest. Great job. Remember, when you're doing these flams, I don't want to hear 2 separate sounds slow. It's got to be super close together, almost like it's the same sound, but they're slightly off. Let's look at the solo flight number 1, exercise 6. We're combining everything we've learned so far in this song. So you have these back end 8th, 6/16th note combinations. You also have full 4 16th notes in a row. But then if you look on the second line, we also are including these flams. We're going to walk through the song first. We're not going to worry about dynamics at the moment. So your louds and softs, we're just going to go through the rhythms. The first line is 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2 and. 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 E and a 2. Let's read through that line one more time. This is line number 1 of exercise 6. We have 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2 and. 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 E and a 2. We're on the next line. We have, these are flams. So we have flam on 1, flam on 2, flam on 1, flam 2. I'm going to go back to my sticks for the next rhythm. We have a back ender, 1 and a 2 and, then 4 16th notes, 1 E and a 2. The next section is exactly like the very beginning of the song, so we should already know how to play this. We're just repeating it again. So we have, right where it says F for forte, 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and 2 and we are going to go on to the next line. We have 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 2. We're now where it says P, piano on the last line, and we have our flams. I'm going to go back on the snare drum for the flams. They're 1 beat each. We have flam 1, flam 2, flam 1, flam 2. We're at the last 2 measures of the song. It says F for forte. The rhythms are 1 and a 2 and. Now this measure is tricky. You're going to rest on 1, you play on the and then you play on the 2, rest. So that measure is going to sound like this. Rest and 2, rest. Listen again. Rest and 2, rest. So I'm going to play the last 2 measures only. We have 1 and a 2 and rest and 2, rest. Let's go through the whole entire song one more time. When we play the flams, I am going to move to the snare drum, but for every other rhythm for now, I'm going to click just to make sure that you hear the rhythms properly. From the beginning, we have 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 2. We're on the next line. We have flams. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're back to our sticks. 1 and a 2 and 1 E and a 2. Where it says forte on the second line, we have 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and. We're on the third line. 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 2. Now we're going to go back to our flams. 1, 2, 1, 2. Last 2 measure of the song. 1 and a 2 and rest and 2, rest. Let's play it on the snare drum. Here we go from the very beginning. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 2. Flams. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 E and a 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and third line. 1 and a 2 and a 1 E and a 2. Flams. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1 and a 2 and rest and 2, rest. Great. We're going to go through the song one more time. This time, we're going to add the fortes and the piano. So whenever you see an F, I want you to play loud, forte. When you see a P, I want you to play piano, soft. Here we go. Number 6. 1, 2, starting loud. Ready, play. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. On the second line, soft. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and a 2 and 1 E and a 2. We're back to loud. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and third line. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. Now we're playing soft. 1, 2, 1, 2, loud. 1 and a 2 and rest and 2, rest. Great job. I can't wait to hear your recordings.